Namaste and welcome to our Alpha Mind Power YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be about our next online workshop or class, which is Pithru Dosha. What is Pithru Dosha? Now, before I begin to explain about Pithru Dosha, which I have already done in some of our videos, but again I will explain it here for the sake of people who are new to our system. Pithru, first of all, who is a Pithru? A Pithru is any person who has lived in your family before you and passed on. So the person is not there now, so he or she becomes a Pithru. So what we really mean is the souls of our ancestors. Those become our Pithrus. It can be, we would have seen only two generations, like our father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, even great-grandfather, great-grandmother, many of us may not have actually seen. So we would have seen only two generations before us. But there are so many more generations even beyond that, and the family tree for every person is so huge. There are so many branches because people get married, they keep branching out, they have children, those children get married, it goes on like that. And today in the nuclear family system that we are all experiencing, we hardly know about our family tree, we hardly know about who are all there in the family and who are all still alive or not alive. We have no idea. But all those who have passed on, they become our Pithrus or ancestors, we can say. Now, where does Pithru Dosha come in? So, it could be your own grandmother, grandfather, somebody who has passed on. Now, Pithru Dosha is when these people are undergoing some suffering, the Atma, the soul, and because of that it becomes a kind of negative influence on the family. It's not meant only for you, it becomes your whole family. Now, why will they generate negative energy towards you? It's your own, let's say, mother or father or grandmother, grandfather or aunt or uncle or brother or sister, somebody who passed away. Now, they have nothing against you, they do not want to affect you or harm you in any way. But what happens is, the theory is that when a person dies, the soul leaves the body and then the soul is taken towards bright white light. That this is a huge subject and a lot of explanation is required, which is done in the class. I'm just giving you a very brief overview of what we talk about there. So the soul is taken towards bright white light, and then after going there, it decides how it will move on further in its own journey. Either it takes another birth or it moves on to some other level of existence. So that is left to the soul and left to many other factors there. This is what generally should be happening, because this life is one among so many lives that a soul takes. So once this life is over, the soul has shed this body. In each life it has a different body. So in this life that body has been shed and that body is no more, but the soul has to move on. But what happens is, sometimes the mind is so powerful that once the body is not there, the mind with all its impressions, with all its emotions, with all its yearnings, with all its disappointments, anger, jealousy, hate, everything that is still there in the mind goes and holds on to the soul and doesn't allow it to progress. That is when the soul gets stuck, because it wants to move on and progress on its own journey, move on to the next level, whatever is waiting. But the mind doesn't allow. The mind says, this person did this to me, how can I leave him and go? Or I have built such a beautiful house, how can I just leave it and go without enjoying it? Or how can I leave my family and go? There are many things, bondages, bandhas we call them, which can hold back a soul. Sometimes it is hatred, sometimes it is revenge, it can be any kind of emotion. So when a soul is pulled back by the mind like that, the soul is unable to leave this earth plane completely and move on. But then it cannot live on this earth also, because on this earth, this life is over. So the soul it becomes what we call a lingering soul or an earth-bound soul. And that's where the problem begins. Once the soul is stuck like this, it's neither here because this life is over, it's neither there because it's unable to move on. So that becomes a suffering for the soul. We do so many rituals every year for our ancestors' souls. It is only to make sure that they do not encounter any such hurdles on their path and they keep moving on freely. A soul should find its peace. An Atma should find Shanti after death. That is what we all want for our ancestors. But here when many souls of our ancestors do get stuck like this, and that results in a lot of suffering for them, which comes to us as a negative energy because we are their survivors, the next generations. So that affects a lot of people in many different ways. If you see this kind of an energy, it's like what you call a wet blanket. It just weighs you down. A child who's studying will be studying well only, putting in a lot of work, but then the desired result will not be seen at all. And then after that also, sometimes what happens, a child studies very well, but on the day of the board exam, the child falls sick. Then also he goes and writes, but he cannot do his best. So that way, everywhere your progress gets hampered. Your success meets with some kind of hurdles, and then it's with great difficulty you cross those hurdles and move on. So this is what Pithru Dosha can do for us. It is not that our ancestors want to harm us. It's not like that. They are caught in their own problems. The soul is unable to move on, and they are unable to extricate themselves from that. We do the rituals only to help them to move on. So in this class, we will learn much more about this. A lot of explanation will be there, discussion will be there. And then we will do a beautiful meditation in which we give a lot of energy to the minds of these souls, to the souls in particular, so that they can extricate themselves, pull themselves out of this and leave the bondages behind and move on freely. That's what every soul really needs. Now in this, there is one question which comes up in the class often. Whether an unborn child becomes a Pithru. Many people are a little bit confused about that, because those who have lived with us and passed on, or lived before us and passed on, yes, we agree they are our Pithrus, our ancestors. But what if a lady, a woman in the family conceived, and then after maybe 3, 4, 5 months, for some reason there is an abortion takes place, and it could be natural, it could be intentional, either ways the abortion takes place and that child's life is terminated. Now, does that become a Pithru is a question which comes up often. Yes, it does become a Pithru, because we believe, medically we are told that maybe after 4 weeks or so of pregnancy, of conceiving, the heartbeat starts in the child. 4 to 6 weeks is what we hear. So once the heartbeat starts, slowly the brain also, it will start functioning very soon. So when all these functions start in that fetus, then how can we say there is no soul? There is a life there. And one more thing here I would like to say is our Garbharakshakam meditation, which is meant for pregnant women. I have seen this. They listen to this meditation every day, and in the meditation I have given a lot of good affirmations for the mother, so that the pregnancy is very smooth, and very good affirmations for the child in the womb of the mother, so that the child imbibes some good qualities. You are an intelligent child, you are a very beautiful child, you are successful, many things I've said. So the mother also feels very good to listen to this meditation, and many times they have had very good smooth deliveries in spite of the doctors expecting complications. This is what we have seen over a period of more than 15 to almost 20 years when I created this meditation. And the beautiful thing about this, earlier when I used to travel to do my classes, sometimes our Alpha Siddha, somebody would have been listening to this meditation and then would have given birth to a child. When they hear that I am in their city or town, they bring that child and show the child to me many times just for blessings. And it is amazing, but this phenomenon always used to bring tears to my eyes. When I hold that child, I would just utter a few words to the child and say, what is your name, what are you doing, something like that. The child which would have been silent and quiet till then, the moment I start talking, it will start smiling. Then the mother, father or grandmother, whoever brought the child, they'll say, see, the child is recognizing your voice. So that would give me goosebumps all the time. It has happened so many times. When they say the child is recognizing your voice, then I really feel, such a beautiful thing this is, that the child inside the womb was listening to this meditation along with the mother. And once it was born, and maybe when I see it after 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, the child recognizes my voice and smiles, which means the child has life inside. All of us know this. I'm just saying this to tell you my experience, to understand that even before birth, the child has emotions or feelings. It understands what's happening around its mother, and whatever the mother goes through, the child is also going through emotionally, which means an unborn child has so much, it is intaking so much. So the soul is definitely there, and when the child is born itself, it comes with so many imprints which have all been happening during those 9 months of pregnancy. So an unborn child also has a soul. So when an unborn child is aborted for some reason, then definitely it becomes a Pithru. Maybe, if it is in the first 1 month when even the mother is not really sure about the conception, then we really do not know. There's no clear answer. But if it is a little after 3 months, once it is 3 months, once the first trimester is over, I think definitely there is a soul residing within that fetus, and definitely the child, the unborn child, becomes a Pithru. So, and the point is, when we talk about the family tree, there are so many families, so many small, the nuclear families belonging to the family tree of yours. And somewhere somebody may conceive, there may be an abortion, they may not even tell everybody, then nobody wants to tell. So that becomes a Pithru. So the Pithrus means the souls of ancestors, and we may not be aware of all of them also. So we need to keep doing something in general to release those souls and to relieve us of this one burden at least. There are still many other burdens that we may be carrying, but at least this one burden, when you release, you will definitely see a remarkable difference in your life. Everything will start moving more smoothly. Many of our Alpha Siddhas have experienced this in the last nearly 20 years, more than 20 years since I started teaching this particular subject. So I invite all of you to our Pithru Dosham online live class in English. This time it's in English. Please do attend the class. It's online from anywhere you can attend, because every family has Pithru Dosham, whether it shows in the horoscope or not. So if you learn this, you become aware of this topic, all the facts about this, and if you start doing the meditation, your entire family can benefit. In particular, the generations after you, your children and grandchildren, they will definitely benefit. So please do attend, join us, and I will meet you there.